Welcome back to 22 News in Focus. Today we're discussing Hard Rock International's proposal for a casino in West Springfield. We just heard from Hard Rock's chairman and the mayor of West Springfield. Joining us now, we have two people. We have West Springfield Town Councilor Brian Griffin, and we have Timothy Brennan, Executive Director of the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission. Two people who have been looking at these proposals and working on this and trying to study the impact these casinos will have here in Western Massachusetts. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. So what are your top concerns, first of all, when you see a casino proposed in West Springfield or other communities? What have you been looking at specifically?
Clearly, I think the top concern for everybody right now is the traffic. There is a traffic study taking place, as the mayor and Chairman Allen have said. The Pioneer Valley Planning Commission is an intricate part of the process here, if you will. But the traffic is clearly an issue. Mr. Brennan and I were talking a little earlier, but the Massachusetts DOT has some projects coming forward for the I-91, 291 corridor, the Route 5, 57 corridor, and there's also another 91 corridor where at exit 1 and exit 5 that they're going forward with regardless. And one of the Route 5 and 57 is it's 25% accomplished at this point, or the studies have been accomplished, so they're moving forward with those processes. But frankly, I think that we've hit the ground running. We do have a checklist that was presented to us through the Pioneer Valley Planning Commission and Mr. Brennan. So I'm sure he can expound upon that.
Well, I think this is a project in the planner's jargon of DRI, project of regional impact, so the impacts, whether it's traffic, which is the obvious one, or others spill out across municipalities. So the place that we're trying to be helpful at the Planning Commission is to get the surrounding communities together, working together, identifying the issues, because there's benefits as well as adverse consequences of a development like this. So you're trying to chase the opportunities and leverage them to advantage, and take the adverse effects and push them down or mitigate them.
I'll ask you, as you've been looking at this, do you see any casino proposal in particular that you think will cause more problems or the least amount of problems? I mean, as you've been looking at this, are you seeing red flags pop up from these? Or?
The impacts are going to be different from one location to the other.
Sure.
But again, the scale of this kind of development is very large, so it's undeniable there are going to be impacts, and again, both positive and negative. So the way we approach something in West Springfield would be different than Springfield, it would be different than Palmer. But in every case, again, you're trying to work those issues and leave the best project for all concerned, whether it's the casino developer, the host, and the surrounding municipalities.
Are you in favor of bringing a casino to West Springfield? I should have asked you that.
Well, it's funny. I'm not in favor or opposed to this. I really want to make sure that we do all our due diligence. One of the things that I was most impressed with and I want to make sure I interject this right away, is that Mr. Allen did say to us when we sat down with him that he would be an integral part of the process, that he would come up at any time to speak on this issue. From that aspect, you don't see that too often, and I really commend him for doing what he's doing. He's a man of his word. He kept his word. But having said that, now we need to delve into the process, get any and all information available to us in exchange with the Hard Rock. If we have any information, we need to exchange that with them so that we can have the best host agreement available for the voters. So I'm not for or against this. We need to be fact finders. We need to be diligent in our duties. There's a myriad of different topics that we're going to get into, whether it be from traffic to education to housing to socioeconomic things, some public safety. So I can't say whether I'm for or against it, but we'll delve into it. And the chairman of the committee for West Springfield, the advisory committee to the mayor, Ed Sullivan, and I will work diligently together. Each week we will meet and kind of not be duplicitous, if you will, so that we'll work on this together as well.
So what factors are you seeing that are going to be needed to be taken into consideration, like, city resources, or, what are some of those factors that you're going to be looking at that could?
Well, again, we've already spent a good bit of time talking about the most obvious with traffic. But to give you an example, many of these are very closely interrelated. So if a casino hires a lot of local casino workers, if you move where people work and live closer together, that has a very beneficial effect on traffic. So the more you hire locals, the more the traffic mitigation kicks in. Also, again, as the developers bring forward their design, the more they're aware of what the concerns are, they can address those as part of their design. So the best time to really get these issues on the table is now. Later on, when the project designs are much more fixed, it's much more difficult to change them. It's also much more difficult to chase the concerns away. So this is the best time to work the issues, again, to try to address them.
Is there going to be a lot of changes that need to be made as far as zoning ordinance are concerned, or that's something that?
Yeah, in West Springfield especially, there'll be a zoning overlay, if you will, that'll be taken up by the town council through the planner, of course. The planner will be involved with that process. Also, you know, gaming in and of itself is not, it's prohibited in West Springfield, so that has to be changed. So those types of things are going to be involved. But one of the main things that I think that everybody is looking for is what benefits West Springfield, and what benefits the region. So if we can work in a partnership effort with the Hard Rock establishment, taking a regional approach, as Tim and his group has been so essential to the process, and getting a win-win for everybody, that's kind of where we are now as a group of individuals who are just, again, fact-finding, trying to get as much information out to the public as possible, being open and transparent. You hear those words a lot, but that's really, really important, especially from our perspective in West Springfield. We've always been that. We've never swayed from that, so that's really important.
You know, this really has been a developer's, process. They've sort of been choosing their communities, and you've been going with it. Have you yourself done research into Hard Rock to know if this is a company that you want to roll the dice with, I guess, you know?
I would say it's less about the proposers themselves. I had the advantage of visiting actually a casino in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania this past fall. It was enormously helpful in terms of understanding the issues, going right back to zoning. Both the mayor of Bethlehem and the developer in Bethlehem, the casino, said that was one of the most important issues to get right in order for the public to vote favorably on the development proposal. So that issue got worked for, again, probably upwards of a year before the actual proposal came forward.
Interesting, very interesting. All right, Brian Griffin, Tim Brennan, we're going to take a short break and we're going to continue this conversation. Thanks so much for being here. We'll continue this. Stay with us. You're watching 22 News in Focus.